morning. Welcome to News at Night. I'm Colette Linden.
And I'm Daniel LaPrade. We're tracking some systems that are in Southern Ontario that may impact us next week, but we're going to see some sun coming up this week. I'll have the details coming up later on in the newscast.
Although impaired driving charges are down about 30% this year citywide, police are using the annual government grant to keep our roads safe. Officers from Sault Police Services, Ontario Provincial Police, and other partners were at this first location on McNabb Street and plan to be working together going forward. Officers won't just be looking for impaired driving, they will have their automated license plate reader at some rides, which scans 3 plates per second. This allows them to stop suspended drivers and vehicles. The ride programs will run from today until January 1, 2021. Nominations for the 2020 Christmas Lighting Awards program are now being accepted by the City Clerk's Office. This program, co-sponsored by PUC Services, promotes and encourages community involvement and recognizes the efforts of residents who light up their homes and businesses in the spirit of the season. There are 2 award categories, residential and business. The residential category, 2 winners per ward will be selected, and in the business category, 3 winners will be selected citywide. Judging of the nominated properties will take place the week prior to Christmas. Submissions must include the civic address being nominated and the resident's name. Any residents can submit a nomination, including self-nominations. Residents that have won in the last 3 years are not eligible. The deadline for entries is Thursday, December 10th at 4:30 p.m. Beginning today, traffic signals on Bay Street will be activated. Please remember that traffic signals that previously existed on Spring and Bay have been removed and replaced with a stop sign only on Spring Street. With the completion of Bay, there are 2 new pedestrian crossovers, one on Bay Street at Spring and one on Bay at Pym. Motorists must stop when a pedestrian crossover is activated. Icy and snow conditions may require adjustments to driving when approaching the new pedestrian crossings. Failure to yield at a pedestrian crossover will be subject to a fine of up to $1,000 and 4 demerit points. Sault Police Services has released an update on the accident which occurred yesterday on Great Northern Road. Lincoln Loudit, manager of corporate communications with Sault Police, says the initial report showed a black GMC Yukon SUV was traveling southbound on Great Northern Road and struck a blue Hyundai from behind. The Hyundai was propelled into the northbound lane and struck a GMC truck, which then struck a 4th vehicle also traveling northbound. The driver of the blue Hyundai, a 58-year-old woman, was transported to the hospital with minor injuries. All 4 vehicles were towed from the scene. Charges are now pending. The investigation is ongoing. The roadway was closed for a short time while crews investigated and cleaned up the scene. Last night, City Council passed a resolution which will provide a few more walking trails for citizens this winter. The motion highlighted the effect COVID-19 has had on travel restrictions to our community and requirements to quarantine to many of our snowbirds' travel plans. The 2 parks will be Strathclair Park and at Elliott Park, and they will be added to the 2 already done, Cleric and Bellevue. Councillors Christian and Shoemaker said that this motion is a result of a number of requests made and that some walking trails in the west and east would be a good compromise. Shoemaker was referring to some of the requests to clear the hub trail. This is being done on a one-time basis because of COVID. It will cost $33,000 to do, and that money will be coming from the winter maintenance reserve to create these trails. It will go toward purchasing a new blower and fuel. Councillor Vizot Allen also loved this idea and says it has been a long time coming. Stay tuned for after the break. We will be throwing to Weather Daniel for our forecast.
Past year we've been celebrating our 65th anniversary, dating back to services originating in our community in 1954, which is quite some time ago. It's been a great opportunity this past year to recognize the pioneers, the stakeholders that worked tirelessly to create what we are today. I'm grateful for everything that the families 65 years ago and the people that assembled the organization have done in order for us to achieve the success that we're experiencing 65 years later.
Recently, The Government of Ontario established a $100 million Affordability Fund to help Ontarians who don't qualify for low-income conservation programs ease the burden of their electricity bill. Whether you rent or own your home, as long as you pay your electric bill, you could qualify. There are 3 levels of support available. The first is a home energy kit with upgrades like smart power bars and LED light bulbs. The second includes Energy Star appliances that help keep things cool during the hot summer months. The third is for electrically heated homes so that your power bills don't break the bank during those long Canadian winters. Plus, all upgrades, including installation, are completely free of charge. Visit affordabilityfund.org or call 1-855-494-FUND to find out if you qualify.
Good evening and welcome back to News at Night on your Tuesday, December the 1st. Beautiful sunny day out there. We brought in December in the green with no snow on the ground here in Sault Ste. Marie. So let's take up our sheet to look at our records. So 24 centimeters was your record snowfall, most snow on the ground, which was in 2007 on this day. And the most snowfall to happen on this day was 25.9 centimeters in 1985. So we are doing very well this year in 2020. We don't have any snow to worry about at this point, and it's looking that way. You know, you're just going to go east to Sudbury, that area east. They're getting a big system going through, and they're going to see a significant snowfall. In fact, Sudbury is under a special weather statement at this point. So we are very lucky here in Sault Ste. Marie. But let's look at the satellite shot, and you can even see we don't have much cloud cover over here. As you head towards Elliott Lake and Sudbury, there is more cloud cover, and then over here, where the system is going towards Southern Ontario, that's where it's going to hit pretty hard. So they are going to see a lot. We aren't looking at any form of precipitation really, other than a trace of snow coming up in the next couple of days. So let's get right into what we're expecting. We'll take a look at what our camera showed us earlier in the day today with that beautiful sun shining, which is sponsored by wirelesscom.ca. Was a beautiful sunny day. However, the wind is still a factor. We are seeing the winds from this system that is moving through, so you do need to still bundle up because there is still a wind chill out there, but it's perfect. You're not walking on ice, you're not walking in a blizzard, and the sun is out. So that was a beautiful shot from earlier today. Thank you to wirelesscom.ca for sponsoring that camera. So what we're looking at for our overnight lows expected into the overnight tonight: -9 in Thunder Bay, -9 as well in Timmins, -11 in Wawa, and then we're looking at 6s across the board -6 between Sault Ste. Marie and Sudbury. So it's going to be right around normal temperatures for our region overnight. Our normal is -7 for this time of year. We are looking at a few clouds overnight in Sault Ste. Marie with winds gusting to 60 north, and they'll be sustained up to 40 kilometers. So again, that wind is from this system. It will be breezy. Wind chill is going to be near -14 overnight. So do bundle up if you are out. But we are looking at more sun on Wednesday, mainly sunny. Again, winds will be a factor. Northwest 40 kilometers, gusting to 60. While everybody else gets hammered with the snow in Southern Ontario, you can gloat and celebrate that Sault Ste. Marie is 4 degrees and sunny on a December the 2nd. So on Wednesday, we will see a wind chill of -13 in the morning as well, and then we will see clear conditions overnight on Wednesday with a low of 0, which continues on the Thursday, which is not a bad day as well. A mix of sun and cloud, 2 degrees. Winds will slowly start to die down a little bit. We'll get down to a low of -1, and the clouds will move in. For Friday, 0 degrees is your high. You're looking at clouds all day and night. -4 is your low on Friday night. Not much to report. Again, there is a chance of a trace of a flurry on Thursday, but right now it's less than a centimeter of accumulation. And as we get into your weekend, we're still above that freezing mark on the weekend. We got 2 degrees on Saturday, and then we will be down to 0s before we hit -1 on Tuesday. Mix of sun and cloud expected on most of those days. And we are looking at overnight lows between -3 to 5, and they're going to hover around that range until well into next week. So, we're not looking at too bad of a week as we go into the second week of December. Now, there is another system that is moving our way for next week, and could bring some snowfall. We have to track that as we get a little bit closer. It'll inevitably get here, but at this point, we are still looking good for the first week of December. So let's look at a beautiful photo of a pet. And this is from Ineki, and thank you very much for sending that in. She is one of our regular viewers of the newscast and the show First Local, and she sends me all kinds of weather photos, and now I've got a pet one to add to the collection, so thank you very much. You want to send in your weather or pet photos, you can send them to ontvweather@gmail.com. Include your name and location. They go up on the show, on the newscast here, as well as on SiouxOnline.com, which will push it to our social media as well. And while you're on SiouxOnline.com, or you go to our Facebook page, which is just Sioux Online on Facebook, there is a holiday pick of the day contest. Chris has posted the details for that, so find the post pinned at the top of the Facebook page, send in your holiday photo, and you can actually win something with the contest there. So we may do that in the future with the Weather Watcher as well, but right now, since the holidays, it's perfect time, so send in your holiday pics as well. We want to see them. So that's what's going on our Facebook page. So Colette will be back with more news right after the break. Make sure you stay tuned. You're watching News at Night.
When it comes to peace of mind, think KC Security Services, a locally owned and operated security service, voted the best security company in Sault Ste. Marie. We specialize in mobile patrols and alarm responses. At KC Security, we also offer stationary guard services for commercial and residential properties, events, and more. Available 24 hours per day, 365 days a year.
KC Security Services, where peace of mind is a matter of choice, your one-stop shop for all your security needs.
The Ontario government is investing $550,000 to help local manufacturers retool their operations and increase capacity in the manufacturing of masks for both adults and children. These initiatives will help keep the province safe by making Ontario self-sufficient in the production of critical PPE. Funding is being provided through the Ontario Together Fund. Through the Ontario Together Fund, the government is continuing to deliver targeted investments that will increase the province's stockpile of made-in-Ontario products and PPE. This increased manufacturing capacity will help the province to combat the current COVID-19 outbreak and prepare for potential challenges in the future. The Rainbow District School Board says a confirmed COVID-19 case has been reported at the preschool room at a daycare at one of its schools. It involves Algonquin Road Public School in Sudbury. The board says impacted staff and the parents and guardians of children who are required to self-isolate have been contacted. The board says public health officials say there is no evidence of transmission within the building. The daycare, the school, and the before and after programs are continuing to operate. Both the school and daycare are open. The economic statement for the 2020-21 fiscal year, tabled Monday, projects the largest single-year budgetary deficit since Canada began keeping track in 1966-67, $381.6 billion. That deficit is greater than total federal spending in the previous fiscal year of $375 billion, which included a $21.77 billion deficit. Canadians are told such aggressive debt expansion is readily sustainable, provided GDP growth exceeds interest rates and debt servicing charges remain low. Yet that's not a sure bet. Upward pressure on interest rates would precipitate positive fiscal and higher welfare costs, and post-COVID-19 short-term GDP growth in countries with sounder economic fundamentals could surpass normal GDP growth in Canada, or inflation could force the Bank of Canada to wind down its holding of federal debt. COVID-19 continuing its surge and hospitals running out of beds, Michigan physicians today urged restaurants to help keep people safer by avoiding a rush to reopen and pausing indoor dining to minimize infections. The physicians' call came as one Detroit area restaurant owner, Joe Vicari, circulated a letter asking other restaurant owners to defy health department orders prohibiting indoor dining. A current Department of Health and Human Services Department order pauses indoor dining until December the 8th. Data and evidence show that restaurants, bars, and cafes cafes are the highest places likelihood for COVID-19 transmissions, and physicians are urging these businesses to help reduce infections by following expert scientific advice so we can all do our part to help keep people safe.